Hi. Hey, Stacey, how are you?
I am amazing.
Amazing. I'm so excited to introduce you to the world.
Thank you. I'm excited
Everyone,
to be introduced.
yeah, everyone, you got to meet Stacey. Stacey Sellar. Stacey Sellar. I'm going to introduce you a little bit about her background before we get started. Thanks for being on this High Vibe Life series. I'm so excited to have you share your nuggets.
Well, thank you. I like to break everything down into bite-sized morsels because I have been a super busy person and I just couldn't take all that information. We are literally drowning in information and starved for knowledge. And
Yes.
so I like to make them super small and easy to understand.
For sure. Okay, so before we go into that, Stacey has a certification in applied positive psychology, and she's been studying this stuff for years and years, actually, the world of gratitude, positivity, optimism, kindness, and she has used all these tools to build a successful $1 million career. She manifested a strong, healthy marriage and complete with a wedding in a Scottish castle,
Yes.
and created 2 miracle children. She's going to tell us more about that. She's also the founder of Happier by the Minute, which you'll learn lots about. And I'm just so grateful that she's here. So let's go right into it. How did you even get into all of this, right? Because happiness definitely is a high vibrational emotion.
Oh
And
my
how
God.
did you even end up, focusing your work on happiness?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have been studying this literally since I was a child. My dad was kind of a weirdo and he was into personal development. And so even as a young child, we were talking about affirmations and I statements
Okay.
and studying some of the great motivational speakers way back in the 70s and 80s.
And I wanna just let the audience know that if you are into personal development, you are not a weirdo.
Yeah.
There's you just cannot equate the two things together, right? Dad was weird.
No, you know what? I have a T-shirt that says "You're weird if you're not weird." Like we just
Yeah.
have to. And back in the 70s and 80s, personal development wasn't as sort of accepted, or it wasn't. It was kind of more woo-woo back then. And
Mm.
now it's way more like, okay, if you aren't doing personal development, then you
There's
are
something missing.
missing something. Like it's
Yes.
so amazing that you are here right now. Like that these viewers are here at this time in this place. You are so blessed and lucky because there are so many people that are unaware. And it is such a gift. And call me weird, call me woo woo. I don't care. I often say I listen to Abraham Hicks, who channels a non-physical being, and they're like, what? I'm like, look, what she says is so amazing. If it was a talking cantaloupe, I would listen. Like, just stay in that space where you really want to keep hearing, flushing your brain with positivity.
Yes. And yeah, so tell us like how you got started. Sorry, I kind of cut you off with dad being weirdo and whatnot. So dad was, it sounds like he was the first influence.
Yeah, he definitely was. And then I read a book in college. Someone gave it to me by Og Mandino. You Are the Greatest Miracle in the World. Oh my gosh, I should bring out my copy. It's like literally falling to pieces. I read it so many times. And then I just listened to all of those great speakers like Zig Ziglar and Think and Grow Rich, and then of course I had the whole Anthony Robbins cassette tapes. Remember when they came in a big box with cassettes?
Yeah. Some of our listeners may be millennials who's never seen a cassette tape before. It's possible.
Right? Back then, literally only in the last, 5 years has the internet exploded where you can have so much access to this information. Back then, it wasn't as readily available.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. So a couple of years ago, I found positive psychology because I was taking the Yale class with oh my God, his name's going to escape me right now. I can't believe it, because I'm thinking of Sri Kumar Lau, who teaches it at Harvard. Tal Ben Shahar was doing it, and I could watch the Harvard class on YouTube. And so I started taking the class. It was really amazing. And I was having a hard time in my day job connecting with somebody who wasn't in line with me spiritually. And I just asked the universe, please send me people, like-minded people. I just want to be surrounded by like-minded people. And literally it appeared to get certified in applied positive psychology. And so I started studying it, and it completely changed my life. And then I was like, oh, this is stuff I've been doing my whole life. And now it's like under an umbrella, people are studying it at school. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay. So you weren't happy, you know, from when you were 5. You weren't just like Miss Happy all the way through.
Oh gosh, no. I was not born like this. I actually have a lot of depression in my family. I had a lot of depression and anxiety in high school. I will even tell you, I wrote my suicide letter. I was in a really, really bad place.
Oh, wow.
And always really struggled with it as kind of a whisper in my head all the time. And so even in my 20s, as I would study these positive motivational speakers, I'd get a little bit excited, but then it would fade. And I think a lot of people understand that. You go to a workshop and you get all excited, and then it kind of fades away. And Zig Ziglar said, people say motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing, which is why we recommend it daily.
Yes. Yes, I love that quote. That is one that we should read every day, actually.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I love what you're doing with this summit, so that people are getting influenced, having a little bit every single day for a bit, because you just have to get in the habit. You do. And even though I study it now, I'm not like gleeful and happy every minute of the day. My husband will tell you, there are things that get me down. There are things that frustrate me. There are things that make me question myself. And yet all of this work has it so that I bounce back quicker. I get a different perspective on it quicker. I can look for the lesson easier. I can find the lesson more easily. So that's what this work does.
And, you know, I actually just recently went to a parenting experts talk, like a live one here locally. And they were actually specifically talking about anxiety, right? And often when I'm listening to experts talk about children, I actually relate it back to adults, right? Like adults are going through exactly the same thing, you know, anxiousness, depression, this whole like mental health and mental wellness is such a thing now because it has risen, right? The problems have, you know, through the world of social media, all of that our new world. And you're saying that you actually experienced that, like the world of depression and anxiety and the not good enough, to the point where you're wanting to kill yourself, like you wanted to commit suicide. Like that is really serious.
Yeah. When I was about 16, I think 16, 17, and I kept journals, and the first line of my journals was, I hate my life so much, I am going to document how miserable my life is. And that was for a lot of years. What I know now and what I teach teenagers is stop focusing on how bad things are, because I was writing all the miserable. It wasn't until I started writing all the visions of all the possibility, getting into gratitude, visualizing what it is that I really wanted to look like, and sitting in that space, that's when it all turned around.
And then like what was the trigger that had you turn to the other side? Like, was it something you heard? Was it something, you know, an advice that you got? What was that had you be like, oh, you know what, this is actually not serving me and it's not being helpful, and you actually turned?
It's really interesting. I went through a really horrible breakup. I was living in London, so I was all alone when I broke up. I was $20,000 in debt. I was in my 30s, moved back home with my parents, had nothing. I didn't have a car, didn't have a job. and really had to start over. And that's when I was like, okay, this clearly what I've been, what I'm doing isn't working. So I've got to do something different. And then I just kept pulling on all the things that I'd learned, and then just kept studying them. But I want to, there's something called the fourth rope. And it's where a big ship is in the port, and they are tied to the docks with 4 ropes. When you let go of the first rope, the ship doesn't move at all. When you let go of the second rope, it moves a tiny bit. The third rope, it's really about to get going. When you let go of the fourth rope, that ship sets out to sail on its own. And so a lot of this work is each little rope, until you get to the fourth rope. It really is, don't give up. And all those little things you've done in the past get you to where you are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's almost like there wasn't sort of one epiphany moment. They really built on each other. And this somebody listening to this video right now, this might be that moment, but it's not going to feel like, like the clouds are going to separate and you're going to say, this is my moment. You're just going to try one more thing, the things that we talk about or the things you hear about tomorrow, and it's just going to build on each other. And then you're going to be, wow, it's working. It's working.
Totally. I can totally respect what you're saying, because I've gone through my own journey, right? It's just like, even like reading something over again, you're like, oh, I never read it that way. Or hearing something again, right? Could be around gratitude, right? They're like, oh yeah, practice gratitude, practice gratitude. I'm like, oh, I get it now. I'm like,
oh, I need to practice gratitude.
Yes, I get it. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's the rope, right? It's that fourth rope. So I've never heard that analogy before, but it resonates.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you ever listen to Abraham Hicks, it's a lot about energy and vibration. And so really working on, at some point, finally, your vibration is in sync with the universe and what's happening, and then it all clicks. And so you got to get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. So everything matters.
And really, like, this series is about helping the listeners, the viewers, raise that vibration just a little bit every day, right? Every day, let's raise that vibration. So what's your advice around if someone's feeling a little off, or they're in lower vibe and they actually want to raise their vibration? Like, what are your top tips, right? If you had a chance to tell the entire world, these tips, and you have one chance, like, what would that advice be from all your background and your experiences? Yeah. And I know before we got on this call, I actually asked you a question, what's your happiness level right now is, right? What is it? And then you said it's like overloading happiness, right?
It is. I'm so blessed, and I'm in such a state of gratitude. And again, it doesn't mean that someone isn't going to cut me off on the freeway later. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to get a call saying that the construction's delayed. Like, it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It means that I am focusing on the things that are going well, and the gratitude way more than I'm focusing on the things or waiting for something to go wrong. And it's a practice. It is a practice. You cannot watch this video and say, I am now going to live a life of full gratitude and abundance, and everything's going to go perfectly. But when you are in the vibration, you will see that things just start happening easily. People start calling you from out of the blue. Opportunities start happening that you couldn't have even imagined. I break it down into 4 steps.
Okay. So I would love for you, if you could, kind of share with us what these 4 steps are, and tell us about how it's been manifesting in your own life. So, step 1, you did this, and then this is what happened in your own life. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. So, and I broke it down into A, B, C, D. That's it. So A is awareness.
I'm taking notes.
Yes, please take notes. Take notes. And I have little videos about this on my website, all for free. This is all, I just do this as a habit. I don't sell it. I mean, as a habit, as a hobby, and it's a habit. I don't sell anything. It's all because I just love to share what I've learned.
That's amazing.
So A is awareness. Nothing can change until self-awareness begins. And what self-awareness begins is listen to how you're talking to yourself and other people. Notice, are things really crap? Is everything going wrong for me? Or is everything going right for me? Am I living my best life? Am I enjoying it? It doesn't mean that you need to make any changes right now, but just be aware. What are you listening to? Are you watching the news? I'm a big advocate of not listening to the news because it's all fake. There's so much good happening around the world, and news is just sensationalized, and they don't show you all the good. Are you just scrolling through Instagram and Facebook of all these people that you admire, but you just don't think you can be anything like? Are you watching gossip sites? Are you reading gossip magazines? Are you watching The Real Housewives? Like, I was doing the work and still watching Real Housewives because it made me feel a little better about myself. Like, well, at least I'm not doing it, right? But I had to give that up because that is not in the vibration of looking for positivity. They sensationalize people being mean to each other, and that's not where you're going to move forward.
Right.
So that awareness. Am I in a job that I hate? You know, and it doesn't mean that you're going to go out and like quit your job tomorrow. Don't do that, you know, until you have another one. But just be aware. Be aware of how you talk to people and how you talk to yourself. The second one is be kind. How simple is that? And yet, how hard is it? Like, how often are we saying mean things to ourselves and mean things about other people? Stop it. This is where now you take a little action and stop it. Start being nice. Be nice to people. If they cut you off, I can't even tell you how many times I got cut off. My Uber driver like cut somebody off, I think at the airport, and this guy was just going mental and red in the face and screaming. And I looked at my Uber driver who literally was like didn't even notice. And I was just watching how amazing this was, that this driver, it did not bother him at all. I don't even think he noticed. But this guy like was getting so upset, like this was going to ruin his year. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of energy that you're putting into this. And what you're hoping it will do by impacting the Uber driver has zero impact. Like, this is only impacting you. So be nice to other people, because really when you're not, it's just impacting you and your vibration.
Yeah, got it. And I love that example, because I actually use that example a lot, because it's a common one, right? It's a
very
common one that people have, right? And it's like, do you know how to drive? Like that comes out, right? And I love the be kind with yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're able to actually not react, that's actually being kind to yourself.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Don't let yourself get into the anger and the frustration, and be more compassionate with others, which serves yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, there is a stimulus and then there is a response, right? Response. There's a little pause in here. So if you can start pausing, and I promise you, you're not going to be perfect at it tomorrow. You're going to be like, that person cut. Ooh, wait, pause. Even if you stop yourself in the middle, or if you start saying, oh, I'm so stupid, I never get that right. Oh, wait, no, I remember Bonnie and Stacey told me to stop, pause. If you can start doing that pause, it will get easier and easier and easier, to where then you won't react, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you will not react to the point where I got a parking ticket the other day. And usually everybody's like, oh my gosh, I hate that person. Why do they have that job? They're just out to get me. Now I'm down, $45. I live in an expensive area. And I literally, kid you not, and I just was like, now I know it's working, said, you know what? I made her day. Like, I made her day. She got her job done. That's her job. She feels really good about it. She's meeting her quota. I didn't move my car. And I was like, wow, it really works.
Wow, that's really flipping it.
I promise you, if you do this work, and I do a little happy huddle every Friday morning live, because I need to practice it every single week. I
Right.
knew that about myself. So I do these little 1-minute videos, but that's not enough. And so I show up every week live. If no one else shows up, I know I'm doing the work. And
Wow.
I got really upset about something someone said about my child a couple weeks ago. And I just kept telling myself, I want to be happy more than I want to be right. I want to be happy more than I want to be right. And it took me 4 hours to get out of it, as opposed to, you know, so I'm not saying 4 seconds, 4 minutes, but 4 hours versus 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 years. You know, people that are still carrying stuff for 4 years.
Right, for sure.
So
Yeah, and you know what? Something I'm noticing too, because I always have this thought that it happens more to women, that we're, you know, we have this negative self-talk. We're not very nice to ourselves, right? And recently, I've been working with some male clients, and they have the same thing.
I know everybody
they're not very nice to themselves either. So
true.
it's a humanity thing. I got it.
And when you look at that woman and you think, oh, she must have it all going on, she doesn't. Everybody's got something. Everybody's carrying something.
Yes.
And so don't compare. Don't
Right.
compare and be nice. So when
For
you start
sure.
to say something mean about yourself, like, oh, I'm so fat, or I never get that right, stop it right now.
Yeah.
Stop.
And I love, like, you know, like putting the framework of, would you say this to a child? Whatever you're saying to yourself, like, would you say it to a child? Like, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, and you know, just quit. It's like, quit your dreams.
Right. Don't do anything. Don't even breathe, because you're being human.
Yes.
You're human. And when you start to realize the impact and the influence of your words, and you know, I don't know if you know the power of water by Dr. Emoto.
Yes. I don't know if some of our listeners might have not seen this, but
The power of water, and the power of words. Dr. Emoto, he put words on water anyway. You don't need to know the whole study. You can look it up. But the point is, your words matter, and what you say to yourself, your brain will become what you want it, what you tell it to become. So if you tell it that you're fat, if you tell it that you're dumb, if you tell it that you're not good enough, smart enough, lovable, you will become that. And so you need to convince yourself, even when you don't believe it, just take the baby steps.
yes.
And start with writing on your mirror. Sorry, this is a big one. Write on your mirror today, I am enough. In a big black marker. I got it on my shower. I got it on my bathroom mirror every single day. I am enough.
Nice. Love it. Yeah. And again, you know, I'm really present to this parenting talk that I went to recently. You know, as parents, right? Some of the listeners may be parents. We do this to our children, where we have expectations, right? And when they don't hit the expectations, like, what's going on in their mindset is, oh, they're not enough. Versus, we need to celebrate progress and growth.
Absolutely.
And every step, every failure, right? So we got to do it with ourselves, with the adults, with our peers, right? With our clients. It's like, we got to celebrate the failures. We got to celebrate the mistakes. It's like, yes, you made a mistake, right? Versus, you know, why did you get a B?
Oh, okay. First of all, don't even get me started on grades and how irrelevant they are, and how they are.
And we won't go there, because we're at A and B, and we got to get to the C of yours.
Yes, thank you. So let's go back to, so C is count your blessings. The minute you start practicing gratitude, your life will change. Now,
yes.
I'm not saying
Amen.
And you go, thank you. No, my friends. There is a way to practice gratitude.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. That is to seriously feel the gratitude. It is not even just about saying it, and it's to get into the practice, whether you keep a gratitude jar, whether you keep a gratitude journal, however you want to do it. I do it before I wake up, and I do it right before I go to bed, and I think about the things that I'm grateful for. Now, let me tell you, I started this when I was in a 600 square foot apartment and was $20,000 in debt, had nothing to my name, and was like, all right, I got to do this. I am grateful for my bed. I am grateful for the refrigerator that has food in it. I am grateful that I have shelter. I mean, I didn't have much, but I just was really, I'm grateful that I have a job, even though I don't love it, it's giving me money. You know, I was grateful. And the minute you start that practice and you really feel like, I really am grateful that I have a bed. And I know there are people out there that don't have a bed. I mean, seriously, like you got to go down to the tiniest. If you need to go down to the tiniest, I have a roof over my head, get there.
Love it. Love it. And I have a question on this one. You know, if you were, because you know, some of my peers, they're in jobs that are paying really well, or businesses that they've been building for years, and now they don't love it, but it's paying, right? It's paying well. So, like, being grateful for it, will you stay stuck? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I'm so grateful for this job because it's the money that I'm generating from it, but I don't love it. So how do we like shift to manifest the things that we actually want?
I will tell you exactly, I was exactly in that space like 2 years ago. So I've been building a company with a team of people for 15 years. And a couple of years ago, it was getting a little bit crunchy and I was not happy. And then it kind of got worse and worse. And I was struggling in there. And I said, okay, two things need to happen. Number one, I need to find the gratitude for it. I am really grateful for this job. I am so grateful for the people I get to, you know, these other people that I get to work with. I am so grateful that it is providing for my family. And then part two of that, and grateful, and then finding what I love about it, right? I love this person that I work with. I love that I get to do this. Part two is then start building what your passion is. And so, look, I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, who is all about hustle. And he is all about, look, you're going to do your day job from 9 to 5, but you got 8 other hours from, 5 to midnight. Wait a second, it's only 7 hours. But anyway, you know what I mean? But my point is, I've been building.
You don't have to need to know to do math to be happy, right?
Clearly. And so I've been building Happier by the Minute for the last 3 years. And again, it's a hobby. And it was one of those things I thought, I could quit my day job, within a month of starting it. And it's not, it's 3 years. And now my challenge, I love my day job so much. And I love this. I'm not really sure. And I'm exhausted because I'm doing them both, but I don't want to give anything up. Yes. And that is a good place to be.
That's amazing.
When you love your day job and you love the gratitude and you're in that space of the energy of gratitude and finding what you're good at, you'll be surprised at what you attract. But number 4 totally leads into this is D, do the work. So now you got to go do the work and find what you love to do. So take a class in something, like you might be interested in interior design, take an online course. There's a lot of free information. You can take classes from Harvard and Yale and Stanford online for free. Go to networking events, talk to people there's a really great book called Designing Your Life by the guys, they teach at Stanford, and they teach that course. They're design engineers, and they use design engineering just in how to apply it to figuring out what's your best life. And they say, you got to prototype it and go talk to people who are doing something that you think you want to do. Do you want to be a fashion designer? Just call them up and ask, can I hang out with you for a day and see?
I love that. That's a great idea.
Right? You want to be an engineer. You want to be a teacher. People will let you come hang out with them, take them to coffee and say, I just want to hear how you got to where you got to. Everybody loves to talk about themselves. They'll do it for coffee.
For sure. And if you want to start a business or you're building a business, you go talk to the people who are doing something similar.
Yep. Totally.
Ask them, what do they like about it? What don't they like about it? What are some tips to actually succeed in it? And you'll learn more about the pieces that you want to take on and the pieces that you may not want to. And you got to engineer, right? You got to bring in the designs and then the engineers to help you co-create, right? It's all co-creation.
It is. And be open, you know, be open to other, like, you may not know that that person is going to lead you to that person is going to lead you to that person. You just don't know. And like manifesting for me, I met my husband at a wedding. And I did not think I was going to meet my husband at that wedding. Actually, I was supposed to go to it with somebody else. And I just thought he was really cute because he was in a kilt, and, you know, and that kind of does it for a lot of women. And I snuck into the dining room and I swapped his table cards so he was sitting at my table. And
Wow.
I was like, you know what?
You were really taking action.
You got to make your own luck. You do,
Awesome.
you do. And it's funny, I took a lot of action I had 2 babies after the age of 40. And it's funny because I did a lot of, I tried a lot of things without doing in vitro, but then I just relaxed and said, you know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I got in alignment with the universe. I visualized what I wanted. And I had those 2 babies at 42 and 46 naturally.
Wow. Wow.
So women that haven't met their husband by the time they're 38, do not poster child for. It's even better later.
That's why you call them miracle babies.
They're my miracle babies, you know, because my doctor said I had like a 1% chance of getting pregnant. And and I actually got pregnant 3 times. I miscarried once. But so, you know, the universe is bigger than even your body and your medicine and tests, and it's just anything is possible. Anything.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you so much, Stacey, for just sharing about your life, right? Like at one point, actually not too long ago, you were bad breakup, had to move in with your parents, and like life was not all that pretty. And now it's exactly what I said in your bio, right? You've manifested an amazing career. It's kind of like a double career where you have your creation and you have partnership in your other successful business. And you have a man who you love and 2 wonderful children. And I know that we didn't even touch, you know, the surface of everything else that's happening in your life.
That's great. And, you know, I'm just keep building. It just keeps coming. And I'm just open to it. And that is what this practice does. And if you can maintain the positivity by being aware, and it's not about being happy all the time, but just knowing it and then being kind and counting your blessings and then taking an action step, any little tiny action step, you're just going to be amazed at how quickly the universe responds to that.
For sure. And, you know, I'm going to add in a bonus tip, A, B, C, D, E. Let me think. What an exceptional bonus is what I'm putting in. A bonus tip that I'm going to say is to surround yourself with people who are practicing all of this.
I wrote that down, and you know what, that was going to be part of my do the work, and being aware. So thank you so much for adding that. Yeah.
Because, you know, if the fact is, it's like, you know, if you really want to be fit, right? And you hang out with people who are like working out every single day, they're drinking protein shakes, you know, they're watching their sugar, they're not taking any dairy, and they're just like always in this fit mode. You just vicariously want to do more of what they're doing.
It's so true.
Right? So same thing here, you know, if you're surrounding yourselves with people who are practicing gratitude every day and they are manifesting the things that they always want, and you're like, wow, it's actually possible. they are taking the actions, they're acknowledging the things that's not working, and they're actually working through it, right? They reach out for resources and support. So like, you're like, okay, I could do that too, right?
Yep. You know, the longest study at Harvard is 70 years long, and it studied all these men, and it studied what is the greatest factor to a well-lived life. And they studied everything: their health, their money, their relationships, their kids, their wives, everything. And the number 1 factor was relationships. It was not money. It was not fame. It was not your job. It was it was not your shoes or your handbags. It was relationships. So surround yourself with positive people and just stay away from the negativity.
Yeah, I think it's like positive and also like just willing to grow, is so important. So, you know, I just want to say thank you. I manifested you into this series.
And I manifested you, and I love that. So, yeah, it's that was fun. Is it over already?
And I want to like create a community who we can continue these conversations with, right? And I know that you have one way to continue the conversations with. Yes, it is over already. And I'd love for you to share with our community, you know, what's the gift that you have for them, because I know you've been so passionate about this and you've been spreading your work. So let us know how we can learn more and how to be happier by the minute.
Yes. Well, so first of all, since I know the more you know, the better you do, and I also know that it's a practice, what I am offering is I created a 7-day way to practice, a 7-day challenge. So when you opt in, I'm going to send you a little activity and a little worksheet, because I don't want you to have any excuse that you don't have paper, and a little worksheet. It takes less than 15 minutes a day for 7 days.
Beautiful.
And so just getting in the habit for 7 days of seeing that when you do just the tiniest little action, you will see a movement in your life. And so just download it. Something will come to you each day for 7 days. And again, less than 15 minutes.
And the link will be on the email or with this video. And last question to complete our interview. You know, one of the things that lifts me up is listening to good music.
Yeah.
Love to hear what your favorite happy music, inspired music is for you.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny, because I have a whole playlist of Sesame Street songs, but they're the inspirational ones. And
oh.
For example, like, I'm going to play it and we can play it on our way out. But like, I have all these, like, this whole kids music, and they are like Bruno Mars. Oh, wait a minute, because that's now an ad. We don't want an ad. We don't want another ad on here. But he will just start singing.
I love it.
It seems really hard to do. You feel like quitting. You feel you're through. Well, I have some advice for you. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
And don't give up.
I listen to these songs with my kids in the car, and they make me really happy, because I know that I'm, you know, drip, drip, drip into my children's brain, and that makes me happy. So
I just want to remind all the adults to drip, drip, drip into your own brains.
Yeah.
You know, so important. Thank you so much once again. We appreciate your time and all the love that you put into the world. I will continue to follow and learn from you.
And Versa, thank you for doing this and inviting me. I'm so grateful.
Excited just to continue our growth journey together.
I know. We are going to be friends, my friends.
Yes.
This is good. This is good
Yes.
stuff. And
awesome.
This audience, you know, if you are here, then you have it in you. Like, you are now, there's no turning back. You can't unsee what you've seen. Now you are on the journey to keep moving forward. And
we want you to live your dream life.
Yeah, it's possible. It is so possible. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.